Hello, my beautiful love beams. I hope you're doing well. Good morning, good evening, good year, good day. I know that if you're here on Medicine of the Soul, you're on that journey to live a soulful life, to find who you are and not who you've been, maybe. I have felt called to talk about connection. And I'm getting sweaty. It's a very interesting thing to talk about from a soul-led place because I have these pockets of living where I feel super connected to myself, to the world around me, to energy, to my dog, to people, places, things. And then I have these pockets of moments where I don't feel that, but it gets masked with closeness. And I had a dear friend point out to me in a very realistic way. You can feel close to things that are toxic. You can feel like there's an undeniable bond while remaining unconnected. Just like you can be so connected and yet not be close. And I thought about that and felt into that, and I really had a moment, this sort of like incredible aha moment that we have when something just makes sense. Like we're like, wow, that's exactly what I've been living through. And why it's important to understand that there's a difference and yet they co-create together is that how many of us have been in relationship, whether that be with friends, whether that be with a partner or whomever, family members, and we feel close, and yet we don't feel that heart connection. Or we feel heart connection, and yet we don't feel close. So both things can be true, right? I'm telling you, yes, in fact, it can happen. So what does it feel like when you're connected and you're close? And that has to do with you and only you. Closeness comes from vulnerability, and connection comes from feeling safe in vulnerability. Connection is something that you can do, you can work on. You can work on opening your heart, opening who you are, getting in touch with who you are deep down inside, and loving who you are from that space. And you develop closeness by opening yourself and allowing yourself to be vulnerable, to be who you are no matter what. To let those walk out of your life, to let things walk out of your life if they're meant to. To choose yourself. You might be the one to walk out. You might be the one to leave where you are, who you're with, what you've been doing up to now. You might change your whole life. And yet, to feel connected and to feel close are the same thing, but yet so different. Because, as I brought up before, you can feel really close to someone or something, and yet they don't really even know who you are because you don't know who you are. Or you can feel so connected to something or someone, and yet they're the furthest thing away from you. Why is that? Think about it. Feel into it. It comes down to being vulnerable. Being okay with who you are, what you feel, what you experience, how you experience it, and not giving a shit about anything else. I mean, that's not true. You do care. But what I mean is that you're the one making the decisions. You're the one living your life how you want to. You're the one that loves yourself, because there's nothing and no one that can decide that for you. So you can live a connected and close life, but you have to be connected and close with yourself. You have to know yourself so intimately that because of that, you can be vulnerable and open to true connection, because not everything, not everyone is for you. And I hope that by now, if you're watching me, you realize that you don't want everything and you don't want everyone, because everyone's got their own stuff to deal with. And a lot of times it gets played out in the connection. How many of us have maybe had connections, like a relationship with our siblings, with our parents, or with a romantic partner where you could go on for years and you think that there's a connection, and maybe there is. Maybe you still feel like a little string or tether or cord between, and yet they don't know the first damn thing about you. It's like you haven't seen your parents in months, and yet you meet up with them, and it's like no time has passed. And you realize they're still living in the moment of you being 4, 5. And you might be in your 30s. That's connection, because you feel connected, you feel the love. But they're not close to you, because if they were close to you, they wouldn't be connecting with you at 4. They would be connecting with you right here, right now. Or the opposite is true. You've been with a romantic partner for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and there's love there. You feel so close, you do everything together. Maybe there's a little touch of codependency, but yet you kind of feel like there's nothing there. That's being close without a connection. A connection feels like two hearts are one. Oh, see, I'm getting excited. It feels like two hearts are one. You can feel the love exchange. You can feel some sort of exchange. Whereas closeness is kind of like surface level a little bit. It can feel like it's very intense. It can be associated to the butterflies. But connection is deep. Connection transcends the here and now. And so if you want both of them together, which that is what this life is about. This life is about connection, closeness, being open, and really living in abundance. That's abundance. If you really want those things, start with you. What does that feel like internally for you? And how can I get close with myself? Well, if you want a couple tools to start devoting time every single day to you, to your needs, to what you want. I'm not saying you have to spend a whole entire day in a ceremony or whatever, but I'm saying the time that you spend giving yourself away to people, places, and things, do you carve out time for you? Do you have some sort of ceremony for yourself? And I say ceremony, and I don't mean you have to whip out the sage and chant and drum and whatever ceremony means for you. I'm not saying that you have to do that kind of ceremony. What I'm saying is creating a ceremony, whether that be making a cup of coffee and setting an intention for when you drink that coffee, it means something. You intend for it to mean something. Or maybe you take 5 minutes of meditation in the morning for yourself before you look at your phone. Before anything happens in the day, you take that time for yourself. Or maybe it's at night. You set an intention for your dream space. Are you making your life a ceremony? Because you are a god or goddess. You are important. Your experience is the most important thing in your life. And I don't have children, but I feel like it's important to teach them that they're the most important person in their life. And so that means we teach them that. We teach them how to be connected and close by understanding themselves, by not being afraid of their emotions, by unraveling the shitstorm that we go through in this human experience. We're not all having perfect, loving lives. I know this, you know this. Obviously, some people have it better than others, however you look at it, but it's your experience. It's not anyone else's. And so, connection is interesting. It's something that we go through in this life, because how many of us have attached to romantic partners, to friends, to family members that are actually really not good for us? It's not about them, it's about you. We attach to them out of fear. We attach to them out of a pattern repeating, a traumatic pattern. I say trauma, but it doesn't have to be anything, crazy. But that moment of you couldn't speak your truth, you were afraid to communicate, ended up following you your entire life. And every single time you would meet someone that would fulfill that need for you to not speak your truth, for you to not communicate, that those people, places, and things attached to you, reaffirming that experience. But it's not until we take a step back that we grow from that experience, that we see the pattern and we choose to change it. And that change is not easy. That change takes time. We might fall back over and over and over again, but the amount of time it takes to see that pattern moves faster and faster and faster until it's not even a thing anymore. But it takes dedication. Dedication to you, dedication to loving you no matter what, and to just accepting where you're at, and knowing that you can only go up from here. Because if you avoid it, you don't go up, you just stay the same. And that is the greatest gift, is that you can't go down, you can only go up. It's either here, you either repeat over and over and over, or you evolve. And guess what? We're here to evolve. And so that feels complete. I just really love giving you nuggets of quantum information, because this is quantum, whether you think it is or it isn't. It's practical self-care quantum living. Everything is energy. And if you study science, that's been proven. Everything has atoms. There are particles. We're all made up of particles. It's neither created nor destroyed, and therefore you can rearrange the particles. Everything has its own vibration, including sound, including light, etc. So, start rearranging. All right, have a good day.